So we now have some official line art of some of the new mobile suit designs in the Iron-Blooded Orphans short film, namely the Gundam Barbatos Adapt and the Eber-G. Let's take a look at the new Barbatos Adapt. This is really good. Like, I love this. They cooked with this design. I knew I already liked it when I saw it in the trailers, but now that I get a more detailed look at this, it is great. It's very bare bones and a lot of exposed paneling and armor missing in certain places. I also really like the way the longsword is stashed on the side booster. I think it looks really cool. It's like really unique. Doesn't really seem all that practical though to have it be stored upside down, but nonetheless, it's really cool. I also really like the brown armor plating. It kind of looks like it's a improvised fabrication and they either didn't have enough time, funds, or like resources to finish painting or finishing the nanolaminate armor, but either way, it looks awesome. This form is what Barbatos looked like in the 2-year time gap between Season 1 and Season 2, and most of the damage was sustained from the Grey's Iron in the Battle of Edmonton, and you can still see traces of Barbatos' 6th form that fought during that time, especially in the legs. Those skinny legs, like I have no idea how those things just don't snap in half, but either way, it has retained that with the brown armor fabrications. Another thing that I noticed is the hands. This version has claws similar to lupus and was probably added as another cost-efficient weapon that would eventually become a major part of, the Barbatos lupus. Overall, this design kind of gives off like a starving wolf or predator vibes, and I absolutely love that. It just looks gnarly and has like it's been through the ringer, and it has all the battle scars to prove it. Like it just looks so cool. I feel like they went with the Adapt name because this version of Barbatos is one that has just had to adapt without resources until that 2-year time period. Tekkaden had become successful enough to overhaul it into the lupus. In that same time period, Mikazuki was able to earn the title of the Devil of Mars. And over that time, Barbatos' designs would get more and more ravenous and animalistic. And I could totally see this suit and the battle tactics that Mikazuki would have to use because of the lack of resources being the genesis of the design philosophy that would culminate in the Lupus and the Lupus Rex. Because it would make sense that with low resources, Mikazuki would probably have to get creative and pilot the Barbatos in a way that is not the standard way of piloting, and that makes sense down the line as both Barbatos and Mikazuki progressed, and I just think that's really cool, and this design just to me gives off like the start of that, so that's just really cool. Next, let's take a look at this interesting new mobile suit, the Eber-G. The Eber-G is a custom IBO 6 Grays frame, and from the looks of it, it's got some really interesting designs. We have a lot of these sharp protruding spikes all over the place, and the ones on its face, to me, looks as if the pilot is trying to make it look like this is a Gundam frame. However, I don't know if that's the case or not, but maybe potentially they've heard about how Gundam frames are starting to become important again, and they're hearing about the Devil of Mars and his Gundam frame, and again, this is all just speculation, I have no idea. This video could be completely out of date by the time the movie drops, but at least to me, it kind of looks like they're just trying to make it look like it's a Gundam frame, and maybe because of Tekkaden and everything that they've been doing, they decided that, hey, we need to make this thing look like a Gundam frame just for intimidation purposes, but I don't know if that's the case. And next, it's got some large blue shoulder pads and blue armor on its thighs and knees and some blue shin armor. Another interesting thing is that it has Vulcan cannons on its head, which is kind of cool to see in the PD timeline, as well as on a mobile suit that isn't a Gundam. And another interesting thing is total speculation, but I almost want to say that these shoulder pads could potentially become Barbatos Lupus's shoulder pads. Now, they don't look exactly the same, but they do look large enough, and they are round in shape, so maybe they didn't use them completely, especially on the top part. There's some tiny protrusions that are present on the Lupus's shoulder pads, but again, I have no idea if this is the case, or maybe they did use them and they just fabricated into the shoulder pads that Lupus has now. But just like looking at it though, because Barbatos Lupus has the biggest shoulder pads out of Barbatos and Barbatos Lupus Rex, but I don't know. Overall though, I really like this design and I would love to get a high grade, or I'm excited to see it clash with the Barbatos Adapt and just see both of these new designs. Well, the Urdr Hunt movie and IBO short film have been released in Japan, so I'll just have to wait till it comes out to the States to get all the juicy details and new bits of information, which could make this video completely and totally out of date. But either way, that's all for today. Thanks for watching. I know it was a short one, but I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.